so excited to share some lessons I've drawn from one of the most iconic books of all time, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Before jumping into the moral of the story, let's have a brief summary of the book. The book revolves around J. Gatsby, a man with an extraordinary dream. Once upon a time, Daisy and Gatsby met and they fell in love with each other. However, Gatsby had to serve military service. Daisy waited him for so long that she couldn't anymore. She accepted to marry another man who is extremely wealthy, named Tom. 5 years later, Gatsby left the force and became so rich that he even bought a mansion on an island just across Daisy and Tom's house. Every night, Gatsby held extravagant parties, hoping that Daisy could show up. Luckily, with the help of Nick, who is Gatsby's neighbor and also Daisy's cousin, they finally met again. It turned out that Daisy didn't love Tom that much. Daisy and Gatsby fell in love again. However, for many reasons, Daisy rejected Gatsby in the end, and Gatsby had a very tragic ending. He died, indirectly because of Daisy. What a sad ending, isn't it? So, move back to the main points. There are 2 lessons drawn from the book that I will talk about today. Lesson number 1, we can change our fate. Let's talk about the guy named Gatsby. J. Gatsby's life is a testament to ambition and resilience. He came from a very humble beginning. His parents were shiftless and unsuccessful farm people. His imagination had never really accepted them as his parents at all, so he left his home to build his career at a very young age, which is 17, and changed his name to J. Gatsby. His name was James Gatsby before. For over a year, he tried to make a living being a clam digger and a salmon fisher. He never accepted his penniless living but always dreamed of something beyond reality, something wealthy and luxurious and in high status. He always find ways and rise to challenges, seeking every possible opportunities. And he did. He changed his fate successfully. He transformed himself from a penniless boy to a wealthy man. That's not easy, obviously. He went through many hardships, overcame many obstacles and adversities. But with his wisdom, his considerable effort and sacrifices, he changed his fate from humble beginnings to wealth, fame, and success. Where you are standing now will be different later on. Your background never decides your value. It's up to your will and your actions. Gatsby mindset triggers many questions in my head. Am I on the right track? Is everything I do helps me pursue my dream? My dream is to be successful, to be wealthy. I always dream about being financially stable so that I can take care of my family, take them to travel somewhere and lead a happy life. But whenever I run into difficulties, I feel like a loser. I feel dejected. But the image of my ideal future self boosts my mood and keeps me going forward. Just like Gatsby, his ambition encouraged him to rise to challenges without fear or hesitation. At the moment, we're still students. We are nobody. But after 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, who will we be? Will we be still the same just like now? Or will we lead a life that is meaningful, that can create happiness and peace to our loved ones? Or that can create values to the society? Let's think about that. So, the second lesson is that in such a disorderly and rudderless society, Gatsby's genuine love towards Daisy is highly rated. True love is especially rare and precious. In a world filled with greed, ambitions, and betrayal, Gatsby's love for Daisy stands out as pure and genuine. There still exists one decent man whose heart is longed for his only love. His gentle eyes when he saw Daisy melts my heart. That sight is the one that every girl wanted to be seen like that, so soft and gentle. He strives so hard to be in the same status with his love. He acknowledged his low status. He was penniless and was not in the same league with his lover. He was never ashamed of his poverty and low status, but always trying and never giving up. He had many achievements in the war, and after leaving the military, his life was even harder. But he did it. He became so wealthy that even bought a castle just across from Daisy, holding parties every night. His wish is to take Daisy to live with him on a very beautiful island. His affection towards Daisy was still intact for 5 years. He wrote letters to tell Daisy to wait for him, but Daisy didn't. After many years, he didn't have any women. He didn't have someone else. In his heart, Daisy is the only one he loved. Although Daisy already had a family, a husband, a kid, he still foolishly hoped that one day Daisy would come back to him. When they finally met at Nick's house, his awkwardness, confusion, and his inarticulate speech showed that he was genuine. Because when a man stands in front of his true lover, he always worried and cannot do something right. Gatsby pale as death. And the thing is, when they met again, his look towards Daisy was still the same, very soft and gentle. Besides this, he was willing to take responsibility for the accident on Daisy's behalf. Daisy took the driver's seat and killed the women. Gatsby willing to take all the responsibility and blame. He even worried that Daisy was frightened and needed him, or Tom would harm her. So he stood outside her house and watched over her room. What is more, he was always willing to wait for Daisy. He thought that Daisy would accept his suggestion to leave Tom and stay with him. He waited all night with confidence that Daisy would call. But she didn't. He fully placed his trust on Daisy. That Daisy could understand all his sacrifices, all his trying. He foolishly believed that Daisy loved him like the way he loved her. Gatsby's devotion may seem foolish, but it speaks to the depth of his love. It's rare to find someone who loves selflessly, placing another's happiness above their own. His story makes a question. What does true love mean in our lives? Are we capable of loving with such intensity or finding someone who does? I think it's really hard to find someone like Gatsby in real life. Because finding someone we love is hard. Finding someone who loves us is harder. And finding someone who loves us more than themselves is the hardest. So Gatsby's resilience in changing his fate and his genuine love for Daisy are profound and thought-provoking. These are the two most important lessons drawn from the book. And this is just my own perception. But anyway, I hope that you guys can enjoy this podcast, and maybe I did offer some valuable lessons that you can also learn from. So thank you very much for paying attention to the podcast. See ya!